Hey, what's up guys, it's Bifrost here. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to play Pokemon Sword and Shield on your Android devices in 2025 with best settings and best emulator that will work even on low-end Android devices. To start off, let me talk about the minimum requirements. You will need at least Android version 8 or above. Along with that, 6GB of RAM. It even works on 4GB RAM but may have crashing issues. Now, as Pokemon Sword and Shield are Nintendo Switch games, I have 4 Nintendo Switch emulators that I'll be ranking throughout the video to see which one gives us the most amount of performance in Pokemon Sword. So the first emulator is known as Pine Emulator. It is completely open source and available on its official GitHub page. Same goes with the Citron emulator as well as Sudachi emulator. All of these 3 Nintendo Switch emulators are amazing. I'll be telling you guys which one is the best for low-end device, mid-range device and high-end devices. We also have another Nintendo Switch emulator known as New Shoe, which I covered recently. You guys will be able to watch that video on the iCard above. With that being said, let's get started. Now first of all, for low-end Android devices, here's what you gotta do. Pine is basically an open source Nintendo Switch emulator for Android devices which works the best on low-end devices with MediaTek processor, Exynos or even Snapdragon processors. I have already made it setup video, but let me show you guys the best settings that you need to apply for low-end Android devices. So let's scroll down. In terms of dock mode, make sure to enable this option. Afterwards, scroll down. CPU backend, make sure to set it to native code execution. GPU driver configuration, make sure that it is set as system driver on Mali GPU Android devices, and VSync mode, make sure to set it to mailbox. Once that has been done, enable force triple buffering, enable force maximum clocks and free cache texture memory. Scroll down, enable fast GPU readback and writes, and that's about it for the best settings. You'll be able to copy it from here. Once that has been done, you'll need to import your save file in Pokemon Sword, or you can even directly start playing this game. But for today's video, I'll be importing my save file. Once the save file has been successfully imported, make sure to tap on the play button, and you'll need to import your own copy of Pokemon Sword on your Android devices. As we are emulating the original Nintendo Switch game, you'll need to dump your own games and everything else that is required. Once that has been done, make sure to tap on continue, and here we go. You guys will be able to see our game has successfully started. Now let's see how much FPS do we get in open world areas. You will already be able to see we are getting pretty amazing performance at the top left corner, almost 60 to 70 FPS even on unsupported processor Android device. Because the device which I am using for today's video has Snapdragon 8 Elite, this emulator does not support high-end or new processor Android devices. That's why I recommend you guys to use Pine emulator with Pokemon Sword only if you have a low-end Android device. The next 3 emulators are going to be very similar: Citron emulator, New Shoe as well as Sudachi. For the best experience, I recommend you guys to go with this Sudachi emulator. If you have high-end or mid-range Android devices, if you want more features, then go with the Citron emulator. But do remember that you will get similar compatibility as well as performance. But if you want the best performance, then you can go with the New Shoe emulator Android. Now New Shoe emulator basically uses something which is known as Antutu package name, which tricks your Android device into thinking that it is running a benchmarking app. Now what this does is make sure that you get the best performance possible while emulating any Nintendo Switch titles on your Android device, and hence why this works even well on low-end Android devices as well as high-end. So for today's video, I'll be going with this New Shoe emulator, and let me show you guys the settings that I am using. Limit speed percentage is set to 500%. In terms of graphics, resolution is 1x native. You can decrease the resolution up to 0.15x if you have low-end Android device. I wouldn't recommend it though. VSync mode is mailbox. Disk shader cache, force maximum clocks and asynchronous shaders need to be enabled. Once that has been done, in debug native code execution, make sure to enable this as well. In terms of special features, you need to copy all of the settings which I am showing you guys. These special features are only available in New Shoe emulator and not Sudachi or Citron emulator, because these special features do not work properly. They are experimental. In terms of GPU driver manager, I recommend you guys to import your custom Mesa Turnip Adreno driver, which is also open source, latest 25.0.0 revision 10, so that your game does not give you any graphical issues. Now if you didn't understand what I just said, you can do a research on it. Once that has been done, we'll go to games, and once again I have already dumped my own copy of Pokemon Sword on my Android device, so we'll be able to get started through this game. So I'll just go ahead and launch the game. I won't be using any save file inside the New Shoe emulator. Let's quickly set up everything, and even touch input works, so that's pretty cool. Here we go, our game has successfully started, and at the top left corner you will be able to see the FPS which we are getting is pretty amazing. Now you will get more performance than what you are seeing if you have Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 or 8 Gen 2, that is guaranteed, because those processors are supported. And on low-end or mid-range Android devices, you guys will strictly need to use the Pine emulator, as it is the best Nintendo Switch emulator in terms of performance. performance. And here we go, Pokemon Sword has successfully started. You guys will be able to see that our game is being rendered properly. It takes some time on low-end devices, so just be patient. And if your game constantly keeps on crashing, then here's a pro tip. Once you start your game, make sure to save it as soon as possible and save it in all the important instances so your game progress is not voided once the game crashes, because obviously emulators are still emulators, they are not stable all the way through for each devices. Anyways, here we go. Once we exit the house, you guys will be able to see that there are some graphical issues here and there, and that's because once again Snapdragon 8 Elite processor is not supported for any sort of emulations because it does not have the Turnip Adreno drivers. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful for you. If it is, then be sure to hit that like button. If it was not, then let me know in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out.